On behalf of the Hall of Fame Committee, I extend our appreciation to all of you for joining us in this opportunity to celebrate these special men and women who have helped shape and grow our sport. This year's inductees will be joining a very elite group of prior inductees. I know we have quite a good showing of Hall of Fame members here this evening, so I would like to ask all of the Hall of Fame members to please stand and be recognized. The SASS Western Heritage Museum and Cowboy Action Shooting Hall of Fame was developed to remember our history and to pay tribute to those who have shaped this game on both competition and fun. This evening, we are adding our 2023 inductees to the Hall of Fame, and by doing that, we add a record of their legacy to the game that preserves our great American cowboy heritage. This is a terrific reason for all of us to celebrate. So now, please join me in offering our sincere congratulations to each of these deserving inductees as we get started with the first induction.
In 1998, Kurt and Debbie Rich walked into Texas Jack's in Fredericksburg, Texas. An eye disease had ended his serious shooting, but he learned in cowboy action shooting people shot for fun. Captain Rich walked in and Captain Baylor walked out. By 2000, he shot Winter Range, and 2003, End of Trail, and wrote for the Cowboy Chronicle, including the first test of the new Ruger Vaquero, Trail Boss, and other new products. In 2006, he was diagnosed with cancer from Agent Orange. Debbie, the redhead, had suggested when they retired they should sell their house, buy an RV, and go to SASS matches full-time. After his surgery, they did just that. His writings became a long-running column, Dispatches from Camp Baylor. He wrote the End of Trail articles except in 2022, when prior combat finally left him deaf. It took 10 months to get a cochlear implant before he could return to competition. His articles cover most aspects of SASS. Articles about the frontier categories have caused a boom in the dark side. His website, with Getting Started in Cowboy Action Shooting, has helped scores of shooters. Several new products resulted from collaboration with vendors. He has won costume contests at End of Trail and Winter Range in several costume categories. In 2014, he became the first man to win Wild Bunch, military and men's shooting costume. He frequently presides as a costume judge. Captain Baylor's attention to costume detail while shooting has demonstrated a firm commitment to costuming and an important facet to cowboy action shooting. He is also an RO instructor, instrumental in teaching cowboy action rules and techniques to the SASS membership. He has always stood ready to perform as posse marshal when asked. For the last several years at Founders Ranch, he was an active participant in hosting the Plainsman Mini Match competition. He has always been a wonderful example of honest competition, spirit of the game, black powder shooting, and costuming, and willing to communicate with the SASS membership. Sterling behavior. For these reasons, SASS is proud to induct Captain George Baylor, SASS number 24287, in the SASS Western Heritage Museum and Cowboy Action Shooting Hall of Fame.
Glad you're here. I am Justice Lily Kate, and I have known George Baylor since 1998. I started shooting in 1997, and he came the next year. As I was on the board, I got to handle registration. And so he and I became friends, and he would come out and shoot and this, that, and the other. Always enjoyed that. He has done so much for the SASS Scholarship Foundation. He was one of the first ones who jumped after I was made president and CEO, jumped right in there. What can I do to help? What needs to happen? He's held clothing drives, you name it. He has done it for the scholarship fund. They mentioned the articles that's stealing my thunder. His book, if you haven't seen the book, and you need to get it, pay me for the plug later, okay? I was very honored and pleased to write the foreword for his book. I will always be eternally grateful for his friendship and asking me to do that. He and the Redhead have been over to visit the judge and me in Houston. We had 3 or 4 really great days visiting a few months back. I walked into our guest bedroom the other day and realized with his induction into the Hall of Fame, I need to get a picture and label it royalty slip here. Also, I have to mention that anytime you want him to come to your match, you have to tell him there's going to be naked dancing girls there, okay? That'll get him there every time. So without further ado, I would like to present Hall of Fame to Captain George Baylor. The SASS Western Heritage Museum and Cowboy Action Shooting Hall of Fame honors and memorializes the men and women who, through their exemplary contributions and achievements, have embodied and perpetuated the sport of cowboy action shooting and the Single Action Shooting Society. Thank you, Captain, for all you've done.
Thank you, Katie. They told me I have 2 minutes to thank everybody I need to thank. I can't do that. I'm going to thank 4 people. First is my lovely wife, Debbie, who you know as the Redhead. You heard what she did for getting me going. Well, she doesn't really do SASS. She doesn't shoot. Well, she hadn't shot me yet, anyway. And she doesn't like dress up. And I don't think she likes listening to 6-digit ticket numbers being read for an hour at a banquet. But she supports me completely, and I absolutely could not do this without her support. Second is I gotta put that somewhere. A writer is useless without editors. And SASS is blessed with 3 really good editors of the Cowboy Chronicle. First, Tex and Jack Ballou. They taught me everything. They were my mentors, my role models, and my best friends. And I love them dearly, and Just read this month's issue and you'll see that. After that, I'm going to cheat on the 2 minutes and thank everybody in SASS who's I've shot with the last 25 years for making me a better man. Not every sport is like SASS. In SASS, I've seen world champions give themselves penalties for things nobody else saw. And if your worst competitor breaks a gun and you're on his posse, you give your spare gun and then applaud him that night whenever he wins. Basically, SASS people will give you the shirt off their backs, but they also drive all night to give it to you. So I'll leave you with this advice that was given to me early in my SASS career. You need to do 3 things to do well in SASS. Shoot fast, shoot clean, and look good. Pickety too. Thank you.
Santa Fe River Stan joined SASS in 2000 and became an active, dedicated contributor to our sport. He worked tirelessly to develop his gun-related skills, recruit and help new members along the way, worked on their guns at no charge, and actively assisted or led the effort to put on large SASS events. As a SASS competitor for 23 years, Santa Fe River Stan has earned many awards, including 10-time Florida State Champion, 2-time Southeast Regional Overall Champion, 4-time 49er World Champion, Wrangler World Champion, and former world record holder for speed rifle. However, his extensive personal contributions to SASS far eclipse that enviable record. It's not just how well you shoot, it's how much you give back to improve the game we play and promote the growth of SASS. Stan has been actively engaged in his home state activities as well as matches and SASS leadership efforts across the country. At home, he was committee leader match director from 2005 to 2012 of The Last Stand, the Florida State Championship. He organized and led the production team in design, planning, lugging the steel, the building, and setup of props, and acted as master of ceremonies at welcoming and award ceremonies. He provided banners, programs, handbooks, and badges to both the Florida State and Southeast Regional Championship matches. He has performed as range master at state, regional, and end-of-trail world championships. He's an active supporter of multiple Cowboy action shooting clubs, including being territorial governor for 2 SASS clubs. Additionally, he is a devoted mentor, providing new and seasoned shooters with instruction and tips on all aspects of shooting, even providing ammunition for those in need, always at no charge. Santa Fe River Stan's contributions to SASS and its shooting program, his knowledge of rules and policies, his ability to use this knowledge thoughtfully and respectfully, and his willingness to be an effective role model and SASS leader were all elements that earned him a regulator's badge and a seat at the table of the SASS Board of Advisors. Stan leads by example and has contributed many hours and dollars to SASS events, charitable causes, and those in need. Always downplaying his own accomplishments, the greater interest of SASS always comes first. SASS could not find a better representative and Hall of Fame inductee than Santa Fe River Stan. SASS is proud to induct Santa Fe River Stand, SASS number 36999, into the SASS Western Heritage Museum and Cowboy Action Shooting Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everybody. I don't have anything written down because this is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart. When Misty called me a few weeks ago to inform me that Colonel Dan would be unable to make it and ask if I would like to induct Stan, she didn't even get the full sentence out of her mouth before I said yes. And then I danced across the Dollar General store parking lot like a little girl. So, a little personal side of Stan here. We met 18 years ago through the internet, believe it or not. That sounds a little weird, but this was pre-YouTube and pre-Facebook, and this is when Led Dispenser was hosting the world record runs of the different firearms that we use on his webpage. And Stan and I were going back and forth with the rifle world record at the time. And we didn't know anything about each other. All we knew was that neither one of us liked each other very much. So I traveled the 18 hours down to the last stand to see what this guy was all about. And I discovered a big brother for me. And one of my absolute best friends. Words to describe Stan: state champion, regional champion, national champion, world champion, match director, match RO, and SASS advisory board. And for me, brother and very good friend. And my story is not a rare one when it comes to Santa Fe River Stand. He is the epitome. When I think of an all-around cowboy in this game, he is the one that comes to mind. So at this moment, I would love to have Stan come to the stage to join us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, dudes, for that great introduction. As you can tell, we've been friends for a long time, and I love him like a brother. I'm very honored to be up here, inducted with all these great people, and joining a group that's very inspiring, and I'm very humbled by it. I'd like to thank everybody by name, but as Baylor said, that takes too long. But there are a few folks that I do need to talk about. First one being my wife, Southpaw Sibby. We met at the last stand in 2004. And for the record, contrary to her claims, she did kiss me first. Together, we have three amazing kids, Dominator, Lightning Livy, and Cracker Dan. And they, along with my in-laws, Colonel Dan and Miss Mary, and my parents, Gamma McGow, Three-Card Willie, have always supported me in my shooting. And I gotta thank the Cracker crew. There's a few of them over here. They've always been willing to laugh at me and not with me. That's what we're all about. There was a couple fellows that aren't here anymore with the Coochie Slim helped me get started in this game. And there's this little leathery fellow in Florida named Weevil Hootie who got me started on the competitive path. And then there's Dang It Dan, who has done more to shape me as a competitive shooter than anybody else. And just ask him, he'll tell you, he's taught me everything I know about cowboy action shooting, not everything he knows about cowboy action shooting. And that leads me up to Delta Glen. who's been my running buddy from the very beginning. And we have shared many miles together. And I like to think that we're like Butch and Sundance, but it's probably more like Abbott and Costello. Just watch his daughter, Hawkeye Chins, look at some of her videos, and you'll see what I mean. Thanks for always being there for me, bud. I love you. I'm blessed by all the love and friendship and support that I've received through this sport. And to be honest with you, I'm not convinced I've done enough to earn this honor. But I can promise you I'm not going to stop trying. You know, how can a fella give back enough to this sport that has given him so much? It's not possible. Steal the line from my uncle, Alligator Ron. He always says we're so blessed to be living in such a great country. So God bless you, God bless America, and to steal a line from my late father, long live the Cowboy.
Dillon Precision is a phoenix. Its birth can be traced to the fiery crash of a P-40 warplane in the movie The Wild Bunch. After a friend crashed his P-40, Mike Dillon inherited his Thompson submachine gun. Mike's interest in machine guns, compounded by the classic Western movie The Wild Bunch, led to Mike purchasing a water-cooled Browning machine gun. Since no practical progressive loader was then capable of loading .30-06 cartridges, Mike Dillon made one in his garage, the RL-1000. In 1978, Dillon Precision was created. Demand soon outgrew his garage. By the early 1980s, multiple action shooting sports emerged, all with high ammunition consumption. Mike met this demand with more affordable loaders, first the RL-300, then the RL-450, selling them through the traditional distributor network. In 1984, Mike had an epiphany. Taking a cue from an automotive radar detector company, Mike reduced his prices to wholesale level and spent his entire advertising budget on one full-page ad in the American Rifleman. He needed to sell 500 units to break even. He sold 5,000 in the first month of factory direct sales. In the late 1980s, the late Larry Cohen, aka the Durango Kid, SASS number 8, asked Dillon to support a new action shooting sport based on the movie The Wild Bunch. Mike couldn't say no. Ever since, Dillon Precision has been a proud promoter of cowboy action shooting. In 1999, Dillon published the book Beyond the Wild Bunch. Dillon Precision not only provided some of the finest progressive reloading machines used by untold numbers of cowboy action shooters, but also provided appropriate accessories, including Old Western-era leather goods, and printed numerous cowboy action shooting articles in the blue press. These efforts greatly supported the growth of cowboy action shooting worldwide. Although Mike passed in 2016, Dillon's commitment to cowboy action shooting continues. For Dillon Precision's early and continuous support of the sport of cowboy action shooting, SASS is pleased to induct Dillon Precision into the SASS Western Heritage Museum and Cowboy Action Shooting Hall of Fame.
Precision's induction, it made me spend some time thinking about what choices we've had to make as shooters in this game. And it led me down an enlightened path to take a look at some of the significant reasons Dillon Precision is being inducted this evening. When I think back to when I started in the game and when you started in the game, we had a great deal of advice given to us by everyone, whether we asked for it or not. We had the Cowboy Chronicle, we had the Wire, and some of us, depending on when you started, you had the internet, but most of us not. So, but the one thing when we started asking questions or getting advice, whether it be ammo, clothing, categories, leather, styles of shooting, the one thing that always seemed to be very consistent when we got to the subject of reloading, the name Dillon. And that was advice coming from experienced shooters or new shooters or any information we were finding. Dillon always seemed to rise to the top. Dillon was always for newer or experienced shooters, had the dominance in the game. That presented a new question. And here is one example why, personally, I find Dillon so deserving of this award. In 2004, when I started in the game, I purchased a used 550 Dillon press, and it had put a lot of rounds through it when I bought it. In 2015, a friend of mine was helping me reload, and we had a jammed case. He continued to force it, and he actually cracked the frame on the Dillon press. So I called Dillon, not knowing what to do, and said, look, it's a used press. If it can be fixed, I'll pay for it to be fixed. I'd like it fixed. They gave me instructions. I sent the press back in. About a week later, the press come back with a whole new frame on it and an invoice that said no charge. We hold the Cowboy way near and dear to our hearts in this sport. We apply it to individuals, and we would like to think the world as a whole would do the same. But we know there's more of an exception to the rule outside of our sport. And rarely could a company ever be considered to be doing business the Cowboy way. But it's easy to see Dillon absolutely does. All of us, of all the shooting sports, are grateful to have such a great company here to provide us such consistently excellent equipment to our sport and committed to such high level of customer service. I'm very proud to present Dillon Precision into the Hall of Fame 2023.
Sales manager for Dillon. Some of you also know me as Muggy on Monk, SASS number 303. So, been in the game a while. Sometimes life causes you to make some changes, and I've kind of drifted a little away from the sport. But to give you an idea of Dillon's support, it's not just in the reloading equipment and the service, but at one time I was the RO for Winter Range. I was a founding member of Winter Range, and we came up with what I believe is the first Wild Bunch event. So I went to Mike Dillon and said, you know, you really like the Wild Bunch. We want to put on this Wild Bunch event. It would be really great if we had a water-cooled Browning for people participating to shoot. So what showed up behind my desk the next day was a 1917 A1 water-cooled Browning, big heavy tripod, T&E, and 2,000 rounds of ammunition. My instructions were, boy, clean it when you get done with it. When we did it again the next year, we had a Browning BAR select fire out there. Mike's always been a man of his word. His handshake is all that was necessary, and we feel that way with our customers still. That's why we have a no bullshit warranty. And we have a very fine crew of customer service people who are there to help you. You always have a friend at the factory. And just a final thing, the thing about SASS, what attracts people to the sport is you have an interest in Western firearms and Western heritage. What keeps you in SASS is the people. We have lifetime memories, friends for more than 30 years in this sport that are still close friends. So thank you for everything you've done to us. We are happy to be of service to you all.
Misty Moonshine, SASS number 83232, joined the SASS family in March of 2009 when SASS relocated its world headquarters from California to Edgewood, New Mexico. In her first year working in SASS operations, Misty also began working with Coyote Calhoun, SASS number 201, to learn everything there was to know about event production in the SASS world. Misty became the voice of the people among SASS members. She initiated an open-door policy for feedback, ensuring a flow of communication between SASS and its members like never before. In the fall of 2011, following the sudden and tragic loss of Coyote Calhoun, Misty stepped in and absorbed Coyote's duties and commitment to SASS and its mission. Through her dedication and unrivaled work ethic, she earned the respect and trust of the Wild Bunch Board of Directors. She was promoted to Chief Executive Officer in October 2012 and was invited to join the Wild Bunch Board of Directors in 2014. Misty continued to orchestrate and produce the SASS convention through its final installment in 2015. Misty produced her first solo End of Trail event in 2012 and continued to produce End of Trail through its 40th anniversary in 2021. She and the small team she'd assembled at SASS headquarters were known to single-handedly move every piece of steel for End of Trail. They mowed, painted, did construction, and cleanup. If it needed to be done, Misty and her crew got it done. Misty has traveled internationally to Germany, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Italy to represent SASS and to support SASS's international program initiatives. She has traveled and set up all over the country at numerous trade shows, consumer shows, SHOT Show, and other events to promote SASS. She is even an accomplished shooter in her own right, competing in matches at the club, state, regional, and national level, winning the New Mexico State Lady Wrangler Championship in 2019. She was awarded regulator status in 2011 and became a SASS-certified RO instructor in 2015. The Wild Bunch Board of Directors were able to retire in October of 2020. She initiated the relocation of the company's world headquarters offices to a central location in Indiana and secured SASS's first true tangible asset, its very own brick-and-mortar building, an impressive 1901 bank building as rich in history as SASS itself. SASS continues to thrive under Misty's leadership today. Because of Misty Moonshine's ability to plan, lead, and direct SASS, the conventions, and End of Trail through numerous changes and challenges since 2011, her open communications with the SASS membership, her national and international marketing activities, and her hands-on involvement in cowboy action shooting events, SASS is proud to induct Misty Moonshine, SASS number 83232, into the SASS Western Heritage Museum and Cowboy Action Shooting Hall of Fame.
For those of you who don't know me, good evening. That video described quite a list of accomplishments. In fact, the whole thing's a bit of a hard act to follow. The video did mention Misty's work ethic, and having worked with her for about a decade or so, I can absolutely tell you that it is second to none. In fact, I dare you to keep up with her. All right. There are other characteristics, qualities that I've grown to know over the years that were not mentioned in that video. One of them is her perpetually positive attitude. Things can be upside down, going wrong, running off the rails, and she has the unique ability to apparently always look on the bright side. Speaking of things going wrong, anyone who's ever put on a large event, such as this one, knows that no matter how much you plan, no matter how good your staff, how many times you double checked, it's something usually somewhere goes wrong. Misty seems to always have the ability, when something goes wrong, to change the plan on the fly and make it work. Adaptability, I think, is what it's called. Some folks have the ability to take a 30,000-foot view, an overview of what's happening, and be good at it. But man, don't start talking details because they have no clue what you're talking about. And then there are those who absolutely revel in getting down into the details, but they have no idea what the big picture is. And I've watched Misty for a long time. She can do both. She has the ability to take that high-level view and then get down and work with the details to make that high-level action come to fruition. Another quality that I've noticed is leadership. She knows how to put together a team and seems to just naturally draw folks into her team. In New Mexico, we actually had a name for that. It was called the Moonshine Mafia. And she also has going for her and going for SASS. She has the fact that as far as SASS is concerned, she gets it. She gets it. She understands what SASS is about, where it came from, and has a pretty good vision of where she wants it to go, where she thinks it will go. And I think at this point in time, that's a pretty good record, a pretty good beginning for her. And I think it's a pretty good future for SASS. Can I have Misty? Could you come up at this time?
On the other side of this, so this is really a little uncomfortable for me. It's an indescribable feeling to be chosen to be inducted into the Hall of Fame alongside the literal giants of SASS, the founders, the pioneers, the record breakers, and the champions. So it is with great humility that I accept this honor. First, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee and the former inductees and Hall of Fame members for my nomination and the votes that it took to get me here. I'm very humbled by that. Second, I need to thank the Wild Bunch. Some are still with us, not here tonight, but with us, and some aren't. But the Judge, the General, Coyote Calhoun, Wild Shot, Hip Shot, and Texan Cat, it's been a ride. I will always hold great reverence for the honor that I was able to spend over a decade alongside them, the pioneers of SASS and cowboy shooting. It's been nothing short of a wild ride, filled with exhilarating highs, some heated discussions. We had a lot of side-splitting story time, courtesy of the Judge, and the occasional tumble, and a lot of hard work. But as Simon Sinek said, working hard for something we don't care about is called stress, but working hard for something we love is called passion. And it's been a privilege to work alongside the Wild Bunch. Their dedication, commitment, and belief in the cowboy way and spirit of the Old West laid the foundation for this remarkable sport and organization. For most of us, it has become so much more than just a hobby. It's a shared journey, a way of life, a celebration of the Wild West, and a tribute to the ingenuity of the cowboys and pioneers who shaped this great nation. So I pay tribute to those visionaries who gave birth to SASS, those who dared to imagine a world where the Old West could come alive once again. We stand on their shoulders today, and tonight I'm profoundly grateful for the trust that they put in me to continue their legacy and for the opportunities that they have bestowed upon me these many years. Next, I'd like to thank all of you, my fellow SASS members, my SASS family. We've had a lot of fun and we've made a lot of amazing memories. Thank you for your support and trust in me. This moment is about all of you and the rich tapestry of history that we continue to weave together each time we're at a SASS match together. We love a sport that brings the past to life, and in doing so, it connects us to each other and to our heritage. Each time we put on our SASS outfits and we put our guns on and we step out onto that range, we become stewards of history, preserving the legacy of the Old West for generations to come. So as I accept this incredible honor, I do so not just as an individual, but as a representative of all of those who walked this path with me. My heartfelt thanks go out to my fellow SASS members, to our tireless volunteers in every corner of the world, my incredible crew that I've always been blessed to have, and to the countless mentors who have guided and inspired me along the way. SASS and cowboy action shooting are living, breathing tributes to the spirit of the Old West, and it's up to us to ensure that this flame never fades. So together, we'll continue to share our love for this sport, inspire new generations, and uphold the legacy of SASS and cowboy action shooting. So thank you for this incredible honor and for the joy of being part of this extraordinary SASS family. Thank you.
Thank you all for honoring the inductees this evening with your presence. And a special thanks to the Oklahoma Territorial Marshals for their hospitality, their hard work, and for helping us find a new home for this important ceremony. Please stay a while, enjoy the celebration with us a while longer, and take this opportunity to personally congratulate our newest Hall of Fame inductees. The museum will remain open for you to enjoy until 9 p.m. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you on the range.